Hello, my name is Cindy Matalucci, and you're watching The Pulse, where we get the 411 on all the latest and greatest things to do in this amazing city, San Diego. From the newest bars and restaurants to the chicest boutiques, to the gyms and the trainers that are getting the people of this city buff 365 days a year, to the place you want to go to get your spa on. I'm exploring it all for you, and of course, having fun along the way. So come with me while we put our finger on the pulse of San Diego. This episode of The Pulse was brought to you by Windus Fernandez Brinkkord from Trilogy Financial Services. For all your financial needs, Windus and her team have got you covered. On today's episode, we start our show in studio with our financial expert, Windus Fernandez Brinkkord from Trilogy Financial Services. We talk about the market and what you can expect. We then sit down in studio for an exclusive interview with Tonya Mantooth, CEO and Artistic Director for the San Diego International Film Festival. Tonya brings Felicia Shaw, the Executive Director of the Women's Museum of California, to the show. They discuss the partnership they have formed for this year's festival. Since joining Trilogy Financial in 2003, Windus has paired success with her commitment to the relationships in her life. She works with her clients to visualize the pathways to their success so they can decide which route is better for them and helps them change gears should their chosen pathway not be as productive as anticipated. Ultimately, she strives to help her clients understand that success isn't achieved with the first plan, but their long-term relationship and commitment to working together. Watch this. We want to welcome today our guest, Windus Fernandez Brinkkord from Trilogy Financial Services. How are you?
I'm great, and thanks for having me again. I love it.
We love having her. She's such a resource, you guys. She's my financial advisor as well. Everybody loves when she comes on the show. We always learn something new as well. So we love having you. But today I want to start with the market, right? We're going to do a little market update. I know a lot of people are a little bit scared about the market. Can you give us the scoop sort of what's going on right now?
Yeah, so with the stock market, obviously, well, it's kind of interesting because I would say, obviously, we've had one major marker for a recession and another marker for a recession, but we're not even calling this a formal recession yet, which is very interesting. And I think every market cycle has something that is unique to it. And this one seems, believe it or not, it's actually a little bit more shallow than the last couple of market movements have been. You know, in 2020, we had a 36% sell-off. The bottom of this market sell-off was only 24% in June. And I do believe what we're gonna do is retest those lows. There are some people who believe we'll go towards a 30% negative, and I'm on the fence about that. I really feel like we're gonna retest the lows of June, but I don't know that there's enough negative data to push it further. We still have strong employment. Inflation didn't come down as much as we wanted to see, but it wasn't actually, it still showed signs of coming down. What the Fed has done is created a lot of rate hikes, which should have an effect on inflation. And we did see that this week, just not to the extent we wanted. It was off by 1/10. So to see a market sell off because inflation data missed the mark by 1/10 seems kind of,
So what are you telling your clients right now? What kind of advice are you giving them?
Unfortunately, once we get into a market cycle like this, you only lose if you sell or you try to rebalance right now. So the best thing to do is do nothing, hold tight. When markets go back to growth, which they always do, this is a cycle, it'll go back to growth. It probably won't go back to growing until 2023. I would definitely just expect volatility where we'll have some run-ups and then a continued push towards that down again throughout the course of the year. I think we'll get 3 more Fed rate hikes. I have some predictions on that. 1 next week for 75, potentially 50 in November, 25 in December. And then they may actually slow down for a minute and see how things go. So that's a prediction. The Fed has not said that's what they're doing. So it'll be interesting.
I love it, but she always keeps us in the loop. So I want to talk about stocks today. This is interesting. We get a lot of questions about that. People are always asking, what should I invest in? What should I do? What's smart? And you and I had a conversation about dividend stocks.
Right, so one strategy that does work well for people, especially in a volatile market, is if you have a portion of your portfolio in dividend-paying stocks. There are a lot of stocks that pay dividends. Most utility companies pay dividends. Utility companies can also be a very safe play in a volatile market. But the cool thing about a dividend-paying stock is that as that dividend pays, if you market to reinvest, it will buy more shares as the market is going up and down.
Okay.
So this is a classic strategy of just buying more shares, dollar cost averaging into the market and getting more money to play. Now, not all stocks pay dividends. One reason a stock wouldn't pay dividends is if it was a growing company and it needed that extra capital to grow. So there's a reason why you wouldn't put all of your money in dividend-paying stocks, because you don't want all of your money in one type of an asset class.
So utilities, you're saying, can be safe. I heard something about Lowe's and Target, but then I heard no. Are those types of companies good?
Well, so I think we have to look back and reflect on the last 2 years, where we have some companies who had a run up in their stock that may be actually overvalued. FedEx is kind of a good example of a company that's a very strong company, but had a very bad report. Target had a really rough report this year. So again, making sure you don't have all of your money in stocks that benefited from the pandemic, but maybe some other stocks that are just maybe didn't see the growth in the pandemic, because we have investment models that are positive year to date, but what those buy is large cap value dividend stocks that don't happen to be in technology. And you might actually have eked out a little bit of a return right now.
Okay, I love that. Well, and I think you just need a good advisor. I think that's a good start.
Well, it's a good advisor. I obviously would advocate for a good advisor, but if you choose to try to read and do it yourself, because some people do a lot of things themselves,
right?
Make sure you're diversified. This idea of everything in the S&P 500 is so annoying and old in the wrong direction. Like, it had 10 years of losses from 2000 to 2010, but it had 10 years of serious growth, or 12 years actually, from 2010 to 2022. But it's not going to be the thing that always performs at the top. So you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket.
Great advice. That's why you're my financial advisor. Good stuff. Okay, so I want to dive into something today, you guys. This is a hot topic. We got questions from viewers with this too. So life insurance, so many things. It seems like a simple thing, but I feel like it's not quite so simple.
There's nothing simple about life insurance.
So for the viewers that don't know what life insurance, I'm sure most people do know what it is, but for those that don't know, tell us what life insurance actually is.
Well, the basic idea about life insurance is that you have taken out a policy to protect your family or loved ones, to provide money upon your passing. But over the years, life insurance has become a lot more than that. So people of a certain economic class who have a lot of extra money may actually use life insurance as a tax shelter. A lot of people believe that they should just buy term and invest the difference. In turn, that is a strategy. One of the biggest things about life insurance is there are several different types of life insurance policies, and it's making sure you spend some time educating yourself on both what you can afford, but what's the right fit for your situation.
Well, right, and there's two types, and this is what's interesting. I never knew this, and I was like in the payroll world forever. I thought I would know this, but there's temporary and permanent. So so what's
often
the
referred to as term and permanent.
Term, right? You're saying term
because it's good for a term, an amount of time, right?
Yes.
So the difference is term insurance runs a lot like, I like to say, car insurance. So you take it out, and if you don't use it, it expires, and it's not like you get money back. There used to be a product called a return of premium term. I haven't seen that in a long time, where if you didn't die or use it, it would give your premiums back, but you actually would pay a premium to buy a return of premium term. And that's not necessarily what I would recommend. But a lot of term policies now have something called living benefits attached to them. Living benefits are critical, chronic, and terminal illness riders, where you don't actually have to pass away to use your term insurance. When I was first started in the industry, less than 4% of term policies paid out, because the medical advances made it where you almost certainly were going to outlive your term insurance unless you had an accident or some crazy medical event. But with the living benefits, I have paid out some living benefits even recently, and it does expand your ability to cash out your insurance. Unfortunately, you have to be really sick or have had a major event to do that, but it can layer in an additional protection for your financial plan.
So what would you recommend, or is it kind of different for each person?
It's such a, so what I would recommend is not working with someone who only sells one product. So we have a lot of people that I basically have to go fix their insurance because this one person came into their life and they only sell permanent insurance, and they force them into a policy that may not have made sense for their financial situation. There's a time and a place where permanent insurance is an incredible instrument. It builds cash value. I've had clients who used it and then used it for the cash value accumulation and cashed it out when they retired. It's a good strategy in the right situation. It's just not the right strategy for everyone.
Right, and I had no idea about this. So the other thing I was going to ask you is, like, how much do you need to cover your family? Is that something that you sort of,
there's really great
calculator?
We have some software that we run that actually would take into consideration a lot of factors. The debt you have, when the debt's going to expire, when the kids are going to go to college. You have very extensive life insurance calculations, but just as a rule of thumb, the minimum insurance you should have is 10 times your salary. And a better calculation would be 20 times your salary, especially if you have children.
Wow, that's good to know. So what age should you get a policy for those millennials out there?
Well, if your parents didn't take a policy out on you when you were a kid, because a lot of people have kid policies that they can turn into really good permanent policies. I have some policies on my children, and it protects that kid's insurability, which is, it's nice to be able to hand them something that had built some cash value that they can take throughout the rest of their life.
Wow.
So to be honest, as young as when you're born with a kid policy.
Okay.
Yeah, I did actually take out my own life insurance when I was 22, before I was married, before I had kids, because I did want a permanent policy. And if you're going to buy permanent insurance, the younger you invest in it, the better the cost of insurance, therefore you accumulate more cash value.
Right.
So, but typically a triggering event for the average client is, I have a family, I've bought a house. That's more common.
And then the policy where you could take money out, right? Those are going to be more expensive policies.
Well, right, and there's a window of time in your life, and like I would say that kind of, not to say in your 40s is, well, that's not it, but the cost of insurance in your 40s starts to creep up to a point where the permanent policy cash value accumulation doesn't run as favorably. So if you're going to be overfunding an insurance policy that you want to basically become a pension plan or retirement, it's better to get on that track in your 30s.
Can you transfer a policy that's like a term policy to a permanent policy?
No. So you can transfer a permanent policy to a permanent policy. You can take the cash value that's accumulated in one and move to another one when it's out of surrender, because there is a period of time where that cash is not yours in that policy.
Wow.
And then, but the term policies, it's really you use it or you don't, it does not. And you can cancel it at any time, so it doesn't accumulate.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot more to even discuss, but I know we don't have time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a whole nother segment on that. But you can take out a loan against your policy too, right? Is that something you can do? That was a question we got from a viewer.
And it's a great question. The problem is the second you're loaning against your life insurance, you're impacting the way that it was intended to credit.
Okay.
So what we see is a lot of people take loans out and they basically don't pay them back fast enough, and then the policy doesn't run as it was originally intended to. So the second you take a loan out, you need to have more conversation with the insurance company on, is this premium enough? Will this policy still run forever? Because you can basically, I call it, blow up your life insurance policy, but that does happen. Like if it's not accumulating the amount of interest it was intended to or ran to, then it won't last forever.
Okay, good advice, I love that. But your firm provides these services and more.
Yes.
So basically people can
review life insurance, we'll look at whatever you have, we'll tell you if it's good, if you should keep it, or if there's something that might be better for you.
And just give everybody, before we let you go, an overview from investing, financial, stock, everything you would handle for them.
Right, so if you think about from a financial planning perspective, we even go down into the weeds and make sure you have a budget. If a budget is important to you, we'll look at budgeting, retirement planning. If you need a trust, we coordinate with trust attorneys to make sure that everything is really, we kind of think of ourselves as a primary care physician. We want to make sure everything is taken care of in your finances, and if we don't do it, we're going to bring someone in to help you.
I love that. And we have everything up on the website. She also does a free consult, so you can contact Windus for that. Her team is amazing. Well, I just want to say thank you. I always feel so much better after you leave. I feel like I know more, and then I feel like I need another meeting with you.
Thank you.
For more information on Windus and to book a consult with her, you can go to trilogyfs.com/advisor/Windus Fernandez Brinkkord. Don't touch that remote, because when we come back, it's our segment on the 21st Annual San Diego Film Festival.
The San Diego International Film Festival presents studio premieres, celebrity tributes, independent films, in-person celebrations. Don't miss it. The San Diego International Film Festival, October 19th to the 23rd.
Welcome back to The Pulse. I'm your host, Cindy Matalucci. We sit down in studio with Tonya Mantooth and Felicia Shaw to discuss the partnership between their organizations. The San Diego International Film Festival is thrilled to share the addition of a women's film series in 2022 in partnership with the Women's Museum of California. Together, the organizations will discover, cultivate, and amplify diverse voices of women filmmakers who help shape our cultural landscape through the art of cinematic storytelling. Take a look at this. Okay, you guys, you know how much I feel passionate about women and women's empowerment and powerful women. So today on the show, we have two amazing local organizations that do so much for our community. I want to welcome Tonya Mantooth, CEO and Artistic Director of the San Diego International Film Festival.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, and then you brought Felicia Shaw with you
did.
today. She is the Executive Director of the Women's Museum of California. How are you?
I'm feeling great. Glad to be here.
We're so excited to have you guys. Well, first of all, Tonya, we have you every year because we get so excited about the festival. It's literally one of our favorite things to cover. It's such a fabulous event. So I want to say congrats because we're really back to in person again.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Now we're going to be able to bring the events back, some of the parties back, and the big experience. So really thrilled.
And it's 21 years.
Yep, 21 years.
And it's still going, but every single time you really take it up to the next level. So I love everything that you're doing. So you just announced the blueprint for the festival. I want to talk a little bit about some things that you're doing, and then I want to dive into the partnership between these two fabulous organizations. So with the blueprint, right, we are going to have the Night of the Stars is back, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to be back. We are going to have premieres, receptions. We're going to have the culinary cinema. And then you're also going to still have virtual
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, for those that don't feel comfortable coming out, or we've actually built a big audience outside of San Diego. So now they can still watch, but for so many people, everybody wants to come back and kind of be part of a community again.
We love that. We're going to dive into the schedule a little bit later, but you can always count on the festival to get the conversation started with compelling social impact films and Q&As. Refugee, environmental sustainability, social inequities, human trafficking, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, LGBTQA plus rights, and other topics that are affecting our world and our communities. So in kind of talking about that, let's talk about this partnership that you guys have, because this is amazing. So this partnership started this year. How did it come about?
Well, it was really me. So the Women's Museum of California, we've been around for almost 40 years. We've had a Women's Film Festival of our own for about 8 years and doing pretty well, but during the pandemic, we started to rethink, where do we want to go next? Now, Tonya has been part of our festival for many years. She would serve on our panels and very supportive. And our dream was, shouldn't we come together? Let's not compete. I mean, there's that sisterhood anyway, right?
Right.
So I said, hey, Tonya, why don't we pull our two festivals together? We can attract both audiences, the museum audience and your audience, and do it even bigger. And so that's what we're doing this year.
That's amazing. And for the viewers that don't know about the museum, I know about it. We've done events there. It's fabulous. You are one of the only museums that celebrate women's history and culture, right?
That's
in California.
Right. One of only 5 brick and mortar museums in the country, and the only one here in California. And we're located in Southeast San Diego. We were in Liberty Station for almost 10 years, and we just moved to this new place. But it's so cool. It's cool because this is not your mother's museum, right? Come down, touch things, play around with things, and commune with other women. It's just a fabulous experience.
I love it. And let's talk about the film series, right? Because there's several films that you guys are going to be showcasing.
Yes. Yeah. Well, what we decided to do is once we came in and all the curation was done, it was to look at 10 films that we wanted to designate as the Women's Film Series, which runs during the course of the festival. And so, we were so excited to really showcase. I mean, there are women who are foreign films as well as documentaries as well as features. And and I have to say, I felt so honored when you called me and we talked and you I don't even think you finished your sentence and I said yes.
Yes, you did.
I said yes because
Yeah.
I love the idea of women supporting women. I mean, I think that's one
definitely.
thing that women need to do in order for us to really kind of get up and over of this.
Yeah.
We can't see it as, if I win, you lose,
That's
or if you
right.
win,
Right.
I lose.
And I
gotta
really
lift each
trusted
other
your
up.
curation. I have to say that. The kinds of films that you've chosen would be exactly the kind of films that our followers would be looking for. So you did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, and what I thought was interesting is we want to close the gender gap in Hollywood, right? That's a big thing too
Yeah.
when it comes to producing these movies. And I think you had said that women make up 50.8% of the US population. That's a stat. But 4.2% of the 100 top grossing American films are made by female directors. And that hasn't changed for like a decade.
Right.
That's staggering to me.
Yeah, we have work to do.
Right, we have a
do.
lot of work. So you guys are doing a lot of work.
Well, you know what?
It's helping.
It's a great way to be able to show and remind everybody. Now, there are a lot of things that are happening in the industry, like I see on a daily basis. I read in the trades, and I see so many more key executive positions being taken by women, and also women in the writer's room, and that's what it needs. It needs bottom up and it needs top down.
So you are seeing a shift.
Absolutely.
That's so
but
More women of color too.
and more
Yes.
women of color,
Yes.
absolutely. But it's going to take a while. But so we can't stop.
We got to keep our foot on the pedal.
Right. Right.
We got to keep charging forward. Okay, so there's so many other films, and obviously you guys have to go so you can see these films, but let's talk about a few of them. So The Rebellious Life of Miss Rosa Parks, we were kind of talking about that, and you were saying you're going to learn about her.
Yeah. I mean, everybody thinks of Rosa Parks as this demure little church lady sitting on the bus, taking up a seat. But she was really a radical.
Yeah.
I mean,
She
her
was
life.
fiery.
She was fiery,
Yep.
and she didn't get the recognition that she deserved. I don't want to give away the documentary.
Right.
She didn't get the recognition that she deserved, but in the end, she got her flowers. I mean, people really recognized the impact she made to the civil rights movement.
Yep.
And this documentary is very well done.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I can't wait. Okay, so then we're going to talk about another one, which I think is going to really start a conversation. Exit, A Journey Out of the Heart of Human Trafficking, which is obviously a huge issue.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. It's the sex industry in Spain.
You know what? It was a shocking film, and I've watched a lot of films on sex and human trafficking, and it was really shocking to see how they groom, how they pull women in from other countries, and lure them in with the thought of, okay, you've got a job for 6 weeks, you're going to make so much money, everything is taken care of, and then now they're in, they can't get out. And it is really frightening. I mean, the statistics are unbelievable. San Diego ranks number 13 in the country in terms of sex and human trafficking, and they say that the overall revenue from sex and human trafficking is close to outdoing illegal drugs, which is astounding.
Well, and I pulled some numbers too, because I love my stats. These are from 2017, but there's 24.9 million people that are forced into labor for trafficking. 3.8 adults, it's sex trafficking. Now 71% of them are women.
Right.
We have to do
That's
something
crazy.
about that.
I know.
But the film really humanizes the women too. I mean, we don't want to get into shock, and I didn't feel sorry for them as much as I wanted to do something about the issue. And I thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
Well, and I have to ask you, because your focus on the festival is human trafficking, right? So there's a partnership with Authentic ID and All for Humanity Alliance.
Yeah, Authentic ID is really one of the top cyber companies that actually tracks down the human trafficking predators.
Wow.
And All for Alliance is a nonprofit in order to bring people together to raise money for it. Now, specifically what they do, which I think is amazing, is it's an entire education program, because they're educating industries who can be around people who are trafficked, and it's as an airline, hotel, but here's the nurses, but also hair salons and nail salons.
Oh,
That's where we tell our stories,
interesting.
right?
That's what everyone.
Yes.
So
that's
it's
where
therapy.
It's
It's for
therapy.
them to be
Spilling the tea.
It's for them to be able to identify that someone's been brought there
Wow.
to make them look good, and they're actually being trafficked, and it's very difficult to get out, and that's what this film really
So
explores.
it's kind of like the clues and things to look for, so that
Yes.
they could report
Right.
and go back.
Yep.
That's amazing. Well, and I want to talk about some of the qualifications real quick on this too, right? Because there's 2 out of 3 key roles had to be done by a woman
Right.
to be in this series, right?
Directed or
Produced
or
or
written.
Yep.
Directed,
That's
produced, or
amazing.
written. Yeah.
I love that. Well, we're so excited, you guys. So this is going to be such a great partnership, and we can't wait to see everything. I mean, obviously, you always do such a good job of curating the movies too, because I know it's hard. I mean, I think every year I say, how many submissions did you have? And I think it's 82 countries that you get submissions from. So it's like, I don't even know how you pick.
But they're not all really serious. There's some rom-coms in there, aren't there?
There are a few.
There's some fun things.
No, and I always try to balance it out. Yes,
Sure.
we always tackle important social issues, but I always try to balance it out and give people some fun things to
Yeah,
watch.
films are fun.
Oh yeah, and by the way, Machine Gun Kelly is coming. So I have to say what I'm excited about. Obviously, I'm excited about all the movies, but I love Colton Baker, and I think Taurus is his newest drama, right? And so he's actually getting an award.
Yeah, we're giving him an award right after the screening and right before I do the Q&A with him.
That's amazing. And you haven't announced the celebrities that are coming for the tribute yet.
Not yet, but we're
Okay.
close.
Stay close. We can't wait. And we'll be there, and hopefully we get to talk to Machine Gun Kelly. That's on my list. So give us the scoop on what we can expect this year. So the blueprint is out, the schedule.
Yeah.
What can we expect?
You know what? One thing I think everyone's going to really enjoy is just the kind of coming back to the community, and I think we're going to be back at Balboa Park for opening night. We're going to be seeing Armageddon Time with Anthony Hopkins, Jeremy Strong, and Anne Hathaway.
Wow!
So that's going to be a great start. But I think it really is about we'll be back in theaters, which we haven't been in the last couple of years, and I think
we can get dressed up.
We can get dressed up, and we can sit in the VIP lounge, have a glass of wine, and talk with people. And I think we've all missed that.
Well, and you guys are at the Conrad Presby's Performing Arts Center,
yes.
right? I love that space.
That's Night of the Stars.
Yeah.
Should be a gorgeous space, and that'll be a fun evening.
Right, and then we've got Friday. We've got Friday through Sunday is the in-person screenings and the virtual online screenings, right?
Right.
And I wanted to say that it's access to 5 days of on-demand screenings.
That's right. So you can
if you want to watch it on demand.
You can watch all week, and we have culinary cinema.
Right. Okay. So culinary cinema. Let's talk about this one.
So I know. I mean, who doesn't love a glass of champagne, food, and wine? So what I do is I always curate a film on food, and everybody has to have a glass of champagne to go in the theater. They watch the film, and then we invite 6 chefs from San Diego, and they make a dish inspired by the film.
Okay.
And so all the chefs before the film plays, they talk about the dish. And then afterwards, we'll do a Q&A with the filmmakers, and then everybody goes out and has some food tastings and some wine pairings, and it's a lovely Sunday.
That sounds amazing. And this is at Westfield, UTC.
At Westfield, yeah.
And we'll have everything up on the website too. We'll have the schedule, and obviously you can go to stfilmfestival.com, and they'll have everything on their schedule too. And you guys were so great. You're going to give us some discounts for our viewers.
Yes,
on
absolutely.
packages.
I want people to come out.
Yay! So we're running these now, and we'll have them on the website. But you guys, we've got 10% off for the passes. Weekend Fest Pass Package 2022 Weekend Pulse 10, and then VIP Pass Package 2022 VIP Pulse 10. So get your tickets now because they can sell out quick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So tell me before we go, what are you guys the most excited about? I mean, I think when it comes to the festival, is there anything in particular you could maybe, I don't know, give us a tip to maybe attending, or like what you're the most, I know you're most excited about being in person again.
I am.
But we have some good panel discussions too.
We've got some great panel discussions,
We're going to have Windus Fernandez on the Saturday.
On
Saturday, we're going to get together and talk about some of those women's films.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're just right there probably in the reception area. Stroll by and join in the conversation.
Right.
So it's really bumping into other filmmakers and having a deep discussion about really what's going on in the industry right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about.
Okay.
Yeah.
For more information on the San Diego Film Festival and to get your tickets, you can go to sdfilmfest.com. Be sure to use our promo codes for 10% off the Film Fest packages. For more of these stories, head on over to our website, thepulsesd.com. Make sure you're following us on social media for all the behind-the-scenes fun at The Pulse SD. That's going to do it for today's episode. We'll see you next time when we put our finger on the pulse of San Diego.